So this is our tokenized Dark DAO Lite demo, our second type of Dark DAO. And the purpose of the tokenized Dark DAO Lite is to allow users to participate in a Dark DAO even if they can't really encumber their own keys. So it's kind of like a user experience improvement. And to show the demo, we have this cool front end, and then we also have two blockchains in the background. We have an Ethereum dev network and an Oasis Sapphire dev network. And so everything you see in the demo is actually being done on these blockchains. We'll start by deploying some smart contracts. And the way we get around users having to encumber their own keys in the tokenized Dark DAO Lite is we have a smart contract running on Oasis, the Dark DAO contract. And the Dark DAO contract will actually create its own Ethereum accounts that users can send DAO tokens to. And then the Dark DAO can sign votes using those accounts. And then we'll issue the users who deposited those DAO tokens something called a DD token or Dark DAO token, which represents a claim on their DAO tokens that the Dark DAO holds, plus any bribes that accumulate in the Dark DAO from selling votes. So we have all these DAO tokens. In this example, we have 600. And let's say we don't care about the DAO at all. We don't care how the proposals go. We just want to make a little bit of extra money, almost like liquid staking DAO tokens. So to do this, we will ask the Dark DAO for a deposit address, and it will create a fresh Ethereum account. And this account's tied to our address, so we can send some DAO tokens to it, but it doesn't really matter how the DAO tokens get there because the Dark DAO knows that anything deposited to this account is associated to our deposit. Now, once we've transferred some DAO tokens to this account, we can then prove to the Dark DAO that we made this deposit and that this account has 150 DAO tokens now in it. And we do something called a state proof. So it's a Merkle proof from the state root of a recent Ethereum block down into the DAO token contract, and then showing that this account has that balance. So once we've completed that, the Dark DAO knows that it has 150 DAO tokens in here, and it can then start selling the votes from these DAO tokens on new proposals. And the way we've designed it, for every proposal, the Dark DAO will create an auction, and the winner of the auction gets to purchase all of the voting rights to all of the DAO tokens owned by the Dark DAO for that proposal. And this way, the Dark DAO will start accumulating some bribe money. And because we deposited these DAO tokens, let's say we want to trade them or something, we can get a mint authorization to mint something called a DD token. And the DD token represents the claim on the DAO tokens and the bribes that get accumulated from selling these votes. So we can then sell the DD tokens on a decentralized exchange. In fact, we think people would probably prefer to buy the DD token over the DAO token if they don't plan on voting, because the DD token will probably get a little bit of extra value from selling the votes. And we also think like arbitrageurs could help with this. We don't think ordinary users would even have to interact with Oasis. They could just have arbitrageurs do most of the DD token to DAO token like transfers and across the DAO token, like depositing into the Dark DAO and withdrawing from the Dark DAO. So let's say we have these DD tokens and we want to get the underlying DAO token back and then the proportion of the bribes. We can do this by burning the DD tokens that we have. And similar to the way that we deposited and proved to the Dark DAO that we deposited some DAO tokens, we can prove to the Dark DAO that we burned them through another state proof. And this actually requires a trusted Ethereum block hash oracle that the Dark DAO contract trusts in order to see what the state of Ethereum looks like. But we think that we can also implement an Ethereum Lite client to fulfill this duty. But so once we've proven that we've burned the DD tokens, the Dark DAO now knows that it owes us a withdrawal. So it needs to send these DAO tokens back to us somehow, and we can assume that it sent us the proportion of the bribes in Rose, the Oasis native currency. And the way to send these DAO tokens back to us is by signing an Ethereum transaction. However, Ethereum transactions require Ether, and this account doesn't have any Ether in it. So what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to ask the Dark DAO for a signed transaction, but then also first fund this account before broadcasting the transaction. And we can do this atomically so no one else can steal our deposit or like consume the gas for themselves. And once we've done that, that's the tokenization process. And you can do this for as many Dark DAO accounts as possible. The way withdrawals work, only the first account is compromised, is leaked. And so kind of the point of this is to kind of hide which accounts are participating in the Dark DAO and which ones are not, so that the Dark DAO has a tougher time censoring voting related to Dark DAOs, which we don't know how DAOs would actually react when faced with a tokenized Dark DAO, but we assume some of them would want to censor Dark DAO votes. And this approach can actually be applied to tokenize anything that requires signatures for authentication, and you can use key encumbrance on that. So for instance, you might tokenize something, some account that will receive a token at a future time. And so that way you can maybe sell your future claim on that token early. And that's how a tokenized Dark DAO works. Thank you.